George, DKB here. So I have a hypothetical trade for you guys, and at first thought it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. As I kind of looked into it though, this actually may be the perfect situation that we're looking for, although I still think this is a trade where technically we're losing out, just due to the nature of the position. But the Browns and the Jets would both be involved in a trade. That's one of the rare player-for-player trades. We would send them wide receiver Elijah Moore. They would be sending us linebacker Jeremiah Owusu-Koromoah. We'll roll with that. Either way, though, so obviously I think the positional values are much different. You want as many playmakers as possible heading into a year where we're looking to finally get an established veteran quarterback. I think that's more so prevalent than ever for us. But I think this does also alleviate the concern of us trying to have to force our hand to figure out how we're going to feed everybody on the offense. We want to funnel, which it's a principle in Nathaniel Hackett's offense. We want to funnel our game plans through the rushing attack, which means there's probably going to be less targets than what we would generally expect, not only for the wide receiver core, but you have to factor in our running backs are also going to be a big part of the receiving game. And then, of course, our tight ends as well. There's going to be a lot of people to feed the ball to, and so I'd still love to have as many weapons as possible in case of injury, in case of we do have further issues that lead to trade requests coming up again, different things of that nature. It'd be nice, but we do want to make sure we're trying to build out as full of a roster as possible. And the thought that made this not as crazy is that if we really want to keep our draft options open, I do remember the Mel Kiper mock draft where we were picking Ohio State wide receiver Jackson Smith in Jigbo, whatever the last name is. This could be the kind of perfect game plan. That was one of the best Ohio State wide receivers in program history, and that's coming straight out of Garrett Wilson's mouth. I've heard Chris Olave have similar sentiments. And so it gives us the ability to go out there and select a guy like that if he's available, and we really want to, as a potential upgrade and replacement for Elijah Moore. And then in the linebacker core, we don't have to force our hands to, necessarily have to deal with C.J. Mosley's contract. We don't have to overbid for Quincy Williams or Quan Alexander. And you could argue that this could potentially be an upgrade. With his contract situation, Jeremiah, keep in mind, he's coming out of the same draft class as Elijah Moore. In fact, he was only selected 8 picks after Elijah Moore was. And so we still have his rights for basically 3 years, including his 5th-year option at the low minimum of, I think he'd play out his contract for under $3 million minus that option year. Which would be great value for us as essentially what they're projecting Quan Alexander and or Quincy Williams to make on the low end from what I've seen. So you could potentially get an upgrade there. Young, uber athletic guy, fits the mold of what Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich would like to see on the team at that position. And I do find it interesting. I did try to dive into the Browns community. A lot of them considered him overrated. They were a little bit frustrated with his performances since he's been drafted. Potentially a red flag for him. Remember, he was supposed to be a potential first-round linebacker. He ended up sliding because there was a heart condition that he got diagnosed with during the combine and was found out about. But still, we've seen guys like that drop all the way to the 4th or 5th round. So to see him still be a second-round talent speaks a lot. There does seem to be consistency issues. But the one thing that I do love that as him being an off-ball linebacker, he's going to bring turnover ability for us. Now, minus the first couple weeks of the season, I think we had like 14 takeaways in the first 4 or 5 games, if I'm remembering correctly. That might have been our total in the season, but I know we had a pretty decent amount of takeaways in the first couple of weeks. What Jeremiah Owusu is bringing just over the last 2 years, 146 tackles, 94 of those being solo, 10 tackles for loss, 8 passes defended, 4 fumbles, and 1.5 sacks. So we see him contributing in all aspects. again, from a physical standpoint, he's going to bring everything that we love to see: sideline to sideline speed, lateral agility, the ability to move, and obviously he has the instincts to go out there and go and get the ball. So he flashes elite play. It's just not as consistent as you would like to see from a second rounder that has, 2 years under his belt. But heading into his third year under Robert Saleh's tutelage, we've seen how quick he's turned around Quincy Williams. And it's, if you remember towards the beginning of the season, we just considered him, like a heat-seeking missile that it was either an excellent play or was terrible. We've seen that actually regress a lot, and you've seen him physically develop and mentally in the middle of the season. And so it was less boom or bust and more so consistent, solid, effective plays. And I think we can do the same thing with a guy like Jeremiah, and we'd have him under our belt for 3 years, which is another great game plan for us. Gives us a little bit more time with the Hamza Nasruddin, Jamie and Sherwood experiment, and just another young piece. Quincy Williams is, arguably probably the most important piece at linebacker right now. And then you have you have Quan, and you have CJ, who would be the vet guys. But this gives us a young, established dude to try to build our linebacker core around. Maybe the team could, in the future look like Quincy Williams and Jeremiah with a guy like Jamie and Sherwood running out there as our trio. But let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Again, not the biggest fan, not for, a straight-up player-for-player trade. Granted, I understand Elijah Moore's situation and kind of the regression he's made, but, everybody gets to feel that that's a fluke. So let me know what you guys think about the trade. I'll catch you again. Peace.